You are now listening to the Highly Evolved Podcast. You can find this channel on Twitter, Gab.ai, BitChute, and Minds.com. This is a Real American Patriot channel for Real American Patriots. If you're not a Real American Patriot, please exit the channel. Furthermore, we are not sponsored by any outside interference. That means we're unscripted, unrehearsed, and unedited. With that being said, transmission will commence momentarily.
How you guys doing? Welcome to the HighlyEvolvedPodcast. I'm your host, Stefan. You can find me at Minds.com, BitChute, Twitter, Gab.com. Most important, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube because YouTube are being a-hole right now. All right, on that note, guys, let's start the show. In this episode, I want to discuss. This might fall into the conspiracy theorist category. I must warn you, if you're not a conspiracy theory and you discredit conspiracy theories, take a second to watch this channel. All right, the reason why conspiracy theorists think like this. And I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist. I consider myself a conspiracy analyst because I don't make up these theories. I just analyze them. There's a difference between people who make up stuff and people who analyze these ideas. All right, so I'm more consider myself an analyst instead of a theorist because a theorist is the one who made up this thing. I didn't make this up. All right, this has already been constructed before me, before that's a conception of myself, right? But this is an article from Zero Hedge. Let me put this out for you guys so you can see this article. All right, it's gonna explain why people think like this. All right, and I don't like to discredit these people because sometimes you gotta listen to these people because it's kind of dismissive, you know, and you just want to listen to people instead of just dismiss them because that's how you have a rational conversation. You just listen to people. If you don't want to have a rational conversation, dismiss them. Call them a racist. Call them conspiracy theorists, right? I like to listen to people. I like to have a constructive debate before dismissing them like that. All right, and here's the article. Why so many believe moon landing is a hoax, all right? I have my reason, all right? On July 2nd, 1968, Apollo 11 took human to the moon for the first time. Now, 50 years later, an increasing number of people believe in moon landing was an elaborate hoax. I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm in this category as well. Alright, you might think about me, whatever, okay? I'm allowed to have my opinions, and you guys are allowed to have your opinions. Alright, I'm just analyzing this, and this is the reason why I come to this conclusion, because the evidence is so abundantly clear that well, let's read this article. Some explain the strange conspiracy theories, a psychological term, being a contrarian can make people feel special. Let's see. I can pronounce the words. I'm sorry. All right, contrarian. Whatever, you guys figure out the word. Can make people feel special, producing feelings belong to a unique, wise, and insightful elite. Others consider it as an expression of hatred for American, grasping a straw that can portray the U.S. as a favorable light. No, it's not a hatred for America. I'm the most patriotic person out there that I know of. All right, you might think yourself as a patriotic person, but just because I have my own view doesn't mean I don't hate America. All right, it means I'm able to analyze and think critically. All right, but let's read on. The rare discussion, the third reason why the near religious belief in process as promoting by the philosopher Greg Willem Friedrichs Hegel and Karl Marx, who believe that history inevitably marched towards a better world. But in many areas, we have regressed. NASA no longer is capable of going to the moon, and the last time any man set our celestial neighbors was 1972. Set foot on our celestial neighbors in 1972 in the Apollo 17 mission. If progress is inevitable, why don't we have a hotel on the moon? For some, it's easier to believe the moon landing was fake than to accept the theological innovation of have just stopped. All right, there's one way of doing it. Is see, go back to the site and look at the flag. Find that flag. All right, why don't they have a satellite and look for that flag? But wait, we have smartphones now, the internet, and sort of cool gadgets and apps that doesn't exist 50 years ago? True, the field of electronic and telecommunications have seen enormous advances, but few hotspots of innovation cloak to the fact that in almost other areas, technology development has ceased. Silicon Valley investor Peter Thiel documented this decline in his book Zero to One, in which he describes several surprising facts. Consider the average of car speed due to more traffic and congestion. Right? You have faster car, but traffic sucks. It takes longer to get to work today than it did in 1970. Air travel took longer too. We used to have a supersonic airplane, the Concords, and went out of business in 2003. 1970, a family could afford to buy a house with one salary. Increasingly, this is not true. Healthcare and education used to be affordable, but the price keeps going up. You have perhaps heard it, a growth of problem of microbial resistance and antibacterial. Maybe that make more sense if you know no new antibiotic drugs have been developed since 1960. Medical innovation has also slowed down despite more and more money being invested in drugs development. Fewer drugs make it to the market according to Thiel. Regulation also slowed down, preventing innovation by making every endeavors more expensive and less efficient. Today, for instance, take an average of 10 years to 100 million to get a new drugs through the FDA approval process. Unlike the other countries, America has spent much of its wealth on financing bureaucrats, big government, that make it difficult for inventors. For that reason, the United States is no longer the freest country in the world. Has it ever been free? All right. But I digress. In fact, the Scandinavian country that Senator Bernie Sanders and Vermont often describe the ideal typical score higher in economic freedom than the United States. The key factor to their success is is a lean government with a few more efficient regulations despite being a welfare state. It is easier to do business in these countries than in America. Great again? While perhaps not aware of why it was happening, a lot of Americans sense the slowing of the U.S. economy. That likely is why many voters respond to President Trump as 2006's slogan, "Make America Great Again." Exactly. Because America used to be great. There's all these innovations. Now it's staggering. Because it's big government. Big government is slowing a lot of things down. Promise to slash regulations for so far the economy have responded to healthy growth. Records, low unemployment rates, and the Daily Wire new 4-episode documentary Apollo 11, what we saw featuring Bill Weddles, described the time before those regulations, right? Because when you look at it, in the 60s, there was hardly any regulations. Government was smaller, right? Weddles dismantled the fake moon landing conspiracy theories by showing that before Neil Armstrong took that giant leap of mankind, and hundreds of small incremental steps had to be made. Each of these steps would have been impossible to draconian health and safety regulations had been in place. The greatest lesson of Apollo 11 may be that once upon time, before a slow, gradual decay in red tape and socialism, that's what socialism do. They think progressive socialism it goes hands in hand. Progressive is a misleading name. When you think of progressive, when you say progressive, it's actually mean regressive. Right? American issue to be an engine of innovation and growth. Maybe it could get great again, and that's the article. Now, when it comes to the moon landing, it doesn't say anything about the moon landing, right? When it comes to the moon landing, the reason why people let me put this in the original view. All right. The reason there's several factors why people think the moon landing is fake. First factor, all right. First factor is the Van Allen radiation belt. How are we gonna create a spaceship that had to penetrate the Van Allen radiation belt not once by entering it, but twice by coming back? There's twice, right? So you're saying that thin piece of shield of metal on the spacecraft? You see the way in the '60s, how dilapidated, how small and fragile it is, right? You think that piece of sheet of metal could repel all those radiation to shield those astronauts? All right. If we can't even make a robot go through Fukushima without getting destroyed by the radiations, what make you think we can make a spaceship that can shield radiation twice, not on Earth but in space, that have more radiations? All right, that have more radiation than it is in Fukushima. All right, that's one thing. Second thing is when you this is coming from a technical point of view, right? When you put how do you create thrust in a vacuum? Because there's an experiment that's been going on about making fan. They put a fan in the vacuum, right, and a feather. They turn on the fan, right, and the feather isn't moving because there's no thrust in a vacuum. There's no thrust at all. So how are you able to get thrust yourself in a vacuum? How is that possible? And the third one that made me kind of question the moon landing as a hoax is because of all the advances, like they say, is the biggest advancement in all mankind, right? Because of this big advancement, how come the technology was destroyed? Why was it destroyed? Shouldn't you be archiving this stuff? And then when you use excuses in the 60s, oh, we don't believe in archiving in the 60s. Wait a minute, this is the biggest thing ever. Why would you want to throw it away like that? Why is it so easily destroyed? And most of the footage was destroyed as well. They did not only destroy the technology, they destroyed most of the footage. See how that works? Now, how does that make sense? Those are the three issues that I question whether the moon landing is fake. And the only way for us to know whether it's real or not is to go back to the moon and see if the flag is still there. That's the only way to know it. All right, but at this moment, I still reserve my feeling that it might be a little sketchy to think that the moon landing actually exists, because I wasn't born that time, so how would I know? And there's hardly any records to showing that. There's only few photos. NASA didn't release that much stuff, right? There's only few photos, all right? There's only few photos out there. They destroyed the evidence. They destroyed the technology, right? And the picture is kind of questionable about the Earth. They take the picture from the Earth. They take the picture of the Earth, and there's no stars in the background. You would figure of all the places where you could get a star view is on the moon, is in space where you can see all stars. And when they took the picture, there's hardly any star. Now, why is there a picture of the Earth and there's no star in the background? Explain that, all right? You got to question some of these stuff, all right? You have to question some of these stuff. You have to. It's unavoidable. There's so many inconsistencies, all right? There's so many inconsistencies. I could go all the way to Stanley Kubrick, the connection with Stanley Kubrick in The Shining, right? And the Operation Paperclip, Werner von Braun, the Nazi, the V2 rocket, the V8 rocket, whatever it is. I could go all the way to that, but I'm keeping it small. The what I just mentioned earlier, those are the reason why I'm kind of skeptic about the moon landing, all right? But I digress. Let me know you agree. Leave a comment below. You think the moon landing is fake? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you have your own opinion? I might be wrong, but I'm entitled. But you're entitled to your opinion as well. All right, and it's patriotic. It's not. I don't think it's unpatriotic to question this kind of stuff. You have to question these stuff. If you really love your country, sometimes you have to question it as well too. But let me know you agree. All right? Do you agree with me? Leave a comment below. Because of what I'm saying, YouTube don't want to monetize my channel because I'm unscripted, unrehearsed, and edit. That means I can say what I want without being bothered by any outside interference, right? If you like what I do, please like, share, and subscribe. Because the point of this channel is to get you guys think for yourself, right? And if you like, share, and subscribe, it encourages me to make more videos. When I make more videos, I saturate YouTube algorithm. When I saturate YouTube algorithm, it make my video more expansive to a broader audience. Within those audience, I might get people to think for themselves, right? And because people think for themselves, that's the reason why I'm not taking any donations. Because when you think for yourself, it's a good enough incentive for me. When you're thinking for yourself, you're not affecting me at all. Now, who the people that affect people? It's group thinkers. Group thinkers are making all these laws, taking people's rights away, making people pay more taxes. Those are group thinkers point of view. That's what they do. Group thinkers. Socialism, Marxism, bureaucracies, all right? Those are group thinkers. BLM, Antifa, Democrats, those are group thinkers, and they make all these policies that affect people. I don't want to be affected by these people, all right? That's why I figure it's a set incentive enough for me for you to think for yourself, because you won't affect me. If you like what I do, please like, share, subscribe. I know time is very precious, not sorry wasting your time. This is the HighlyEvolvedPodcast, and you guys have a good day. Peace.